If you want talk, games, and fun all rolled into one, well, you've come to the right place. This is The Game Show, where host Bradley Clarke and his special guests talk about the world of television game and competition shows. But Bradley's guests aren't here to just talk. They came to play a game as well. What will today's topic be? What game does Bradley have planned? There's only one way to find out.
It's time to start the show.
You heard the man. Welcome to The Game Show. And here's your host, the Bradster himself, Bradley Clarke.
Welcome back to the show where game shows are king and competition shows are queen. It's The Game Show. Thank you so much, Austin Angelo, and welcome everybody to another episode of The Game Show, the talk show all about the world of television game and competition shows. And guess what? This is once again going to be a 2-hour episode. So sit back, relax, and get ready to listen to double the game show greatness. I'm Bradley Clarke, and if you recognize the phrasing of my opening line, you could probably guess that my special guest has a connection with the Joker's Wild. Well, that guess of yours would be correct, and my guest doesn't just have any ordinary connection with the Joker's Wild. He was, in fact, the host of the Joker's Wild.
Welcome to the game where knowledge is king and Lady Luck is queen. It's the Joker's Wild. Now, here's your host, Pat Finn.
Hey, gang, welcome to our show. Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to the Joker's Wild.
Unfortunately, his duties as host of the Joker's Wild only lasted 1 year. However, the year the Joker's Wild ended was also the year his most successful game show hosting opportunity began. For the next 11 years, my special guest was the host of the wildest shopping game ever, Shop Till You Drop.
One of these lucky couples could win the vacation of a lifetime. One of the shopping capitals of the world, like Rome, Paris, New York, London, or Hong Kong. On the wildest shopping game ever, Shop Till You Drop. And now here's the host of Shop Till You Drop, Pat Finn.
Hi, guys. Hello, everyone. Hello, my friends. Welcome to our mall here on Shop Till You Drop, and a special hello to our contestants.
Today, one of these lucky couples could win a dream vacation. Meet Letitia and Eric Greenwood. She's a preschool teacher who loves to read, and he's an accountant who enjoys working in the garden. And this is Kim Fern and Ron Sesko. She's a student of water ballet who enjoys singing, acting, and the paranormal, and he owns an art gallery and likes bike riding and listening to music. They're all here to play the wildest shopping game ever, the new Shop Till You Drop. And here's the host of the new Shop Till You Drop, Pat Finn.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. How you doing at home? Welcome back into our mall here on the new Shop Till You Drop. I'm glad you've joined us.
Today, one of these lucky couples could win a dream vacation. Meet Diana Mercer and Ben Wynn. They're friends and cubicle mates at work. They're both attorneys. She had a mohawk in college. He enjoys golf and surfing. Meet Jessica Slayan and Elvis Greer. They're friends and are both political science majors in college. They both enjoy music, movies, and watching TV. And they're all here to play the wildest shopping game ever, Shop Till You Drop. And now, here's the host of Shop Till You Drop, Pat Finn.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Welcome into our mall here on Shop Till You Drop. Hello to my friends at home, and welcome to you.
But Shop Till You Drop wasn't the only game show he hosted for double-digit years, as he was the last ever host of a California game show institution, The Big Spin.
From the California Lottery, it's the biggest money game show on earth. The Big Spin. Here are your hosts, Pat Finn and Michael Alejo.
We are so excited. We almost don't need that applause sign out here. All right. Thank you for joining us for what promises to be another great episode of The Big Spin.
You already heard his name during all of the cuts I just played, but just to recap and give him the introduction he deserves, joining me on the game show today is the host of the Joker's Wild from 1990 to 1991, the host of 3 incarnations of Shop Till You Drop from 1991 to 2002, and the host of The Big Spin from the California Lottery from 1999 to 2009. I am so excited that he is my special guest on today's episode, and that I get to chat with him about his incredible game show career so far. Please welcome onto the game show the manager of Von Schiffendecker's Furniture, 24 Carats, Chez Gourmet, and Heidi's Housewares, the one and only Pat Finn. Pat, welcome to the game show.
Great to be here. You know more about me than I know about me. With those dates, I don't remember half of that. But it's great to be here. Thanks, Bradley.
This is truly an honor for me to have you on the show. And before we do anything, I want to quickly tell you about the first time I ever watched the 1990 to 1991 version of The Joker's Wild. It had to be when I was 11 or 12 years old. And this was when I was beginning to utilize YouTube as a prime source to watch old game show clips and episodes that I couldn't find on television. So I was looking up The Joker's Wild one day and I saw a video of a version that said 1990. Now at the time I knew that The Joker's Wild was around in the 70s and 80s, but I had no clue that there was a 90s version of The Joker's Wild. So I was of course intrigued and I clicked on the video. It was a clip of a woman who won $36,000 in the bonus round. So when the camera first cut to you in the clip to say to the contestant that if she spun Joker, 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 in one spin she would win $36,000, I knew I recognized you from another show, but I couldn't pinpoint what it was since your name wasn't mentioned in the clip. So finally, after hearing you speak throughout the clip, the light bulb clicked. That's Pat Finn, the same Pat Finn I love watching on Shop Till You Drop. I knew the voice was familiar, but the glasses threw me off because you wore them on The Joker's Wild, but you went with a no glasses look while hosting Shop Till You Drop. Also, at the time, I had no idea you hosted another game show besides Shop Till You Drop. However, once I saw that you hosted a revival of The Joker's Wild, I watched every episode and video clip available on YouTube, and I still continue to rewatch them even to this day.
Very cool. Yeah, I do wear glasses occasionally. Definitely didn't need them for the show, but I think they wanted something that had me look a little bit more intelligent than I probably really am. So that's why when they saw that, I wear glasses sometimes, I think we should wear them for the show just to add the credibility to what I was doing. So I was really so blessed because the Joker's Wild, we were on for a year. We were on for another couple of years in reruns and on USA and all. We basically did 1 year, 39 weeks worth of shows. And as it was coming to an end, it was just looking like the ratings just weren't connecting yet and it wasn't going to happen. And I had a chance to audition for Shop Till You Drop. And basically Shop Till You Drop said, we'll hire you if you can get out of your Joker's Wild contract. So then we called Joker's Wild and said, okay, is this likely to move forward or not? And at that point, it was not. So literally the same day that the Joker's Wild ended was the same day I got hired for Shop Till You Drop. So pretty amazing time.
Sometimes things in the game show world just align.
Yep, absolutely.
So we're going to talk about the Joker's Wild and Shop Till You Drop as well as the Big Spin. And then later on for the game of the day, I'm bringing back the Joker's Wild just for you to play, Pat.
Awesome. I can't wait.
So are you ready to start talking game shows?
Sure.
Then let's do it. So I always like to start off by asking game show hosts like yourself, have you always been a fan of game shows, and what were some of your favorite game shows to watch?
Well, when I was a kid, I used to watch Jack Barry all the time on Joker's Wild. So when I had the chance to audition for that, it was pretty great because I grew up in Pennsylvania and up in Vermont, and I can just remember that my parents would always have it on, and it was a show that I enjoyed watching. So I actually did watch Joker's Wild a lot. And then, as time went on, some of the other classic shows, I am a big Pat Sajak fan and Wheel of Fortune and all that. But growing up, the only one I can really remember watching was Joker's Wild. So it was a nice coming full circle when I got a chance to actually audition for that show.
And did you know early on in your life that you wanted to become a game show host?
Not clearly. I knew I wanted to be in broadcasting. I was first a radio disc jockey, air personality, and then my local TV station back in my hometown of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, had an opening for a TV weatherman, and I auditioned and got that. So that's how I got into television and was there for a year, and then went to Pittsburgh for a couple of years, and Phoenix, did TV weather and had a talk show there.
When Pat Finn listens, people talk.
I was a fairly new actor, and I didn't have that much experience, and I flopped, basically.
It's just tragic, because nobody gets hurt except Vanessa in this deal.
Finn and Friends. It's the show everybody's talking about. Interesting people, interesting talk. Watch it at home or join the studio audience. Finn and Friends, weeknights at 11:30, following The Tonight Show on Channel 12.
Let's all be there.
And then San Francisco did TV weather. So for me, it was being on the air and broadcasting. And then I did a 3-day workshop that was all about getting clear on what you're committed to in life and what gets in the way of you fulfilling on that. And it was called the Landmark Forum. And in the forum, it was like, wait, if I could have anything, what I'd really love to do is be on national TV to host a game show. And said within 6 months out of doing that weekend program that I would make that happen. And sure enough, I did. A couple of months after I did the forum, I had a chance to audition for the daytime version of Wheel of Fortune. And back then, Pat Sajak was hosting a daytime version and a nighttime version. He was leaving the daytime version, and they were looking for a host. I got to send in the tape. I made it to be one of the 5 finalists, where I got flown into Hollywood and got a chance to tape the show on the set with Vanna White, and went so great. And as I got back to San Francisco, a group of my friends decided that they were going to do a pro Pat Finn protest rally. So we actually, outside the studios up there, we had 40-some of us, and they had protest signs that said things like, NBC want to buy a vowel, and it had my name, P blank, T, F blank, NN, and at the end, everybody was holding hands and chanting, all we are saying is give Finn a spin, and thought it would be really extraordinary, and made the local news, made the front page of the newspaper there, made Entertainment Tonight, local TV weatherman in San Francisco has his heart set on the Wheel of Fortune job, and I didn't get that job. A guy by the name of Rolf Bernerschke got it at the time.
Look at this studio, filled with glamorous prizes, fabulous and exciting merchandise, including this. Escape to this fun-filled $16,000 vacation showcase. What an adorable piece of jewelry, this onyx and diamond panda necklace. Enjoy the luxury and design of this $14,700 sedan. Over $77,000 just waiting to be won today on Wheel of Fortune. And now, here's your hostess, Vanna White.
Thank you. This is very strange for me to be here, in this position, I should say, but today is a big day around here, for we have a new host of Wheel of Fortune, and I'd like to introduce you to him at this time. Please welcome the new host of the daytime Wheel of Fortune, Rolf Bernerschke.
Hi, Vanna.
Welcome.
Thank you. Fun to be here. A little overwhelming, but it's exciting.
It is exciting, and we have a lot of weeks, years, months, and everything to be doing this. And before we get going, everybody knows about me. I've been around for 6 years, but no one knows anything about you. I think we should talk about you a little bit.
Well, okay. Some people know I played 10 years in the NFL. I was the place kicker for the San Diego Chargers, and never anticipated ever doing this. But 5 months ago, I was on a talk show in Los Angeles, and Merv Griffin was watching and tracked me down, called me up, and invited me up to meet him and consider hosting a new show that he was creating. And he called me back then about a month later and said, the Wheel of Fortune job is open, would you come up and audition? And I didn't think I did it that well, but he called me back up, and now here I am.
Merv knows how to pick them.
Well, I hope so. It's sure fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I don't, people really don't want to know about me or watch us here. I think we should start the game. What do you say we take a commercial break, come back, and we'll play our first round?
Okay.
All right.
We'll see you in a minute.
But fortunately, I got a chance a couple of months later to audition for Joker's Wild and got that one.
And that's what we're going to talk about now, The Joker's Wild, which you hosted from 1990 to 1991. It was a syndicated revival of the classic Barry Enright game show, and the original version of The Joker's Wild was hosted by Jack Barry from 1972 to 1975 on CBS. After that, new episodes aired in syndication from 1977 to 1984, and when Jack Barry suddenly passed away in 1984, Bill Cullen took over the podium from 1984 to 1986. Brad fact! The Joker's Wild had only been off the air for a little over 4 years at the point of the show's return, so were you surprised that The Joker's Wild was being brought back so soon?
I didn't know enough about it to be surprised. Later, as I started to do it, I started to realize the legacy of stepping into Jack Barry's shoes and the whole world of it.
From Television City in Hollywood, CBS presents America's most exciting new show, The Joker's Wild. Now, here's the host of our show, Jack Barry.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and a most cordial welcome to a brand new and we hope very exciting show for you. It's called The Joker's Wild. It's a show where knowledge is king and Lady Luck is queen, and where winning players can win up to $25,000 in cash and prizes.
The guy who was the producer-director of bringing it back, Richard Klein, had been part of the original working with Jack. So it was great to have him there, as well as a few of the other key people. And then Jack's family was part of it. His sons were there, and his widow were part of the creative process as well, because they owned it, and part of making the decision whether or not to hire me or not. So I'm always appreciative of the family giving me that chance.
The 1990 edition of The Joker's Wild was filmed at a very significant place for game shows. It was filmed at Studio 33 at CBS Television City in Hollywood, which was renamed the Bob Barker Studio on The Price is Right's 5,000th episode on April 9th, 1998. So many classic game shows recorded in Studio 33, including, of course, The Price is Right, in addition to the 1973 to 1982 edition of Match Game, the 1980s version of the $25,000 Pyramid and the $100,000 Pyramid, the Bob Eubanks and Bill Rafferty editions of Card Sharks, the Ray Combs-hosted Family Feud, and the original Press Your Luck. Brad fact! So for you, Pat, was there a sense of excitement that you experienced the first time you walked onto the stage of Studio 33?
Well, it wasn't as much the stage because I didn't have the connection to those classic shows, but it was more the dressing room. I remember the first day I'm in the dressing room, and it's like there's all these pictures of wild animals like otters and lions all on the wall. And this is an odd decoration for this room. And then the producer said, oh, this is Bob Barker's dressing room. And it's like, I get it. So that was the give me goosebumps moment. Oh, I'm actually using Bob Barker's dressing room. That was pretty great. Then there was a plaque on the wall that was given to Bob that was like the world's best game show host. And that was there. And it was just really cool to be part of all of that.
Getting the chance to use Bob Barker's dressing room, now that's an honor.
It really was. And I know the history of the stage and how incredible that was. But for me, it was, oh, wow, this is so cool.
Currently, we are in the television age of game show revivals, as so many classic game shows are being brought back in the 21st century. However, I consider the year 1990 to be the first big year of game show revivals, because in that 1 year alone, we saw the return of Match Game, Tic-Tac-Dough, Supermarket Sweep, Let's Make a Deal, To Tell the Truth, and of course, The Joker's Wild. In addition, the new Dick Clark-hosted game show, The Challengers, was based on the classic 60s and 70s Art James-hosted game show, The Who, What, or Where game. So in total, 7 game show revivals debuted on television in the year 1990. Brad fact!
Did any of those survive? It was one of the things that they told me at the time. All of these game shows came back, and maybe it got too diluted because there were so many people, including Dick Clark's show, that there was something about, because there were so many new shows at once, we got a little bit lost in the shuffle. And that's one of the reasons that it didn't get enough of an audience.
Only one of those game shows remained on the air after one season, and that was Supermarket Sweep. Brad fact!
Sure. I know Dave Rubeck really well. We were paired together, Supermarket Sweep, almost always with Til You Drop on Lifetime, then on Family Channel. So I know that show pretty well. And now, as you know, it's being brought back again.
Yeah, and I've had the pleasure of having David Ruprecht on the show. So now I can say that I have the hour-long Lifetime shopping block on the game show.
Yeah, Dave's a great guy, so I'm glad he's had a chance to talk to you.
As a new host in the game show industry, were you excited to see that the tradition of daytime game shows was carrying over from the 70s and 80s into the 90s? And did it make you hopeful that game shows were going to be a continuing television force throughout the decade?
At the time, for me, it was just all about getting a chance to do something that was a dream come true. So I wasn't thinking as much about the industry in general, I was thinking more personally about me and how great it was to have a chance to do that. Really, along the way, to see game shows not only staying alive, but thriving over the years has been really extraordinary, especially with what's happening now with the revival of the classic shows. And there's a wide range of the types of people that they're hiring for the shows nowadays, from people who have no experience or have some celebrity experience, but not game shows, to people who are more traditionalist when it comes to game shows. So the field's wide open at this point.
As I mentioned, Jack Barry unfortunately passed away in 1984, but Dan Enright of Barry Enright Productions was still alive when the 1990 version of The Joker's Wild premiered. Did you ever get a chance to talk with Dan Enright during pre-production and when the show aired?
Nope, he wasn't at all part of our process. So I'm not sure what the connection was in terms of to the old show. My connection was only with Richard Klein and then with the Barry brothers who were part of it as well as his widow. So Dan wasn't really part of the production at all. You obviously are much better with details than I am, but if his name was credited at all with that show, it would have been probably something that was required legally because there wasn't one creative session or conversation that he was included in.
Well, I know that there was a plaque placed on the Joker machine to honor Jack Barry. Brad fact.
Yes, that show, it would never have had the success for many years if it wasn't for Jack. It's a great game, but it really had to do with Jack Barry being so extraordinary. We certainly tipped our hat to him during our run of it. I'm not so sure about the latest run with Snoop Dogg, but at least in our run, we wanted to honor his memory. I have fond memories of Joker's Wild. For me, it was a whole new world, and I got to work with Richard Klein, who had been in the game show business for a long time, and he really gave me some simple pointers and things to do, everything from just how to stand or how to lean into something when it gets a little bit more dramatic, rather than standing back and being casual, but kind of 1 foot forward, leaning in as the tension would mount. And little things like that made a difference for me being able to do the job and get it done. Somebody had posted on my Facebook page an old episode of Jokers. I hadn't seen it in many, many years, but just recently, and I watched it just for nostalgic purposes. And I was impressed with how fast I could talk, particularly during the end round. We would do the next definition, and I was going, is this the regular speed, or has this been sped up? I always want to be there on behalf of the contestants, and you're eating up their time, so you needed to zip through it as quickly as possible. Thank goodness, mostly it always worked.
We're back here on the Joker's Wild. I want to say congratulations to Captain Gunn. You're doing great. Over $2,000 today on our show. And it's time now for the bonus round. I'm going to give Jim the definitions, and he'll try to give me the word. For each correct answer, we'll give him one spin on the Joker machine. Now, here's 60 seconds. All your words today begin with the letter W. W. Got that? Here we go. A strong, fine-textured paper suitable for engraving. A process of uniting opposite elements. Last definition, the marriage ceremony with its accompanying festivities.
Wedding.
Right. Next word, first definition. A member of the legislature acting as a liaison between leaders and members. To beat eggs with a... That's right. Next word, first definition. The direction from which the wind is blowing.
West.
The last underuse, exposure, or passage of time. Last definition. The state of the atmosphere at a given time with reference to heat or cold, wetness or dryness.
Pass.
It's weather. Next word, first definition. A uniformed official attendant at the London Stock Exchange. A vessel or tray on which breakfast is carried. Last definition. A man who serves food to restaurant customers.
Waiter.
Right. Next word, first definition. Living or growing in its original state. Violently disturbed, turbulent, or stormy. Last definition. In poker, a card having any value specified by the holder.
Wild card.
Wild is right. Next word, first definition. To think or speak confusedly or incoherently. To go astray morally. Out of time there. My radio disc jockey days came in handy during that round of the show. I sometimes wonder why I was lucky enough to get hired in the job, and I think one of the reasons must have been that I was able to talk fast and talk clearly, which again goes back to my radio days. So I think that's one of the things that made a difference. And sometimes I wonder, even as I was watching the show again recently, is game show demos, at least back then, skewed a little older. As interesting as that was to be able to put all that material in such a short period of time, I wonder if some people couldn't follow along just because the demo may not have liked somebody talking that fast.
The Joker's Wild was airing back-to-back in syndication with a new version of Tic-Tac-Dough hosted by Patrick Wayne.
In a moment, the game that intrigued a nation. In a moment, the game of strategy, knowledge, and fun. In a moment, Tic-Tac-Dough! And now, our host who will guide us through the next 30 minutes of Tic-Tac-Dough, Patrick Wayne! Whoa! Great, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, and welcome to our show.
The Joker's Wild and Tic-Tac-Dough were very successful syndication sister shows when they aired from 1977 to 1986. Brad fact. So do you think it was a smart move to pair the new version of The Joker's Wild with a new version of Tic-Tac-Dough? Or do you think it was a setback because now the audience is going to compare and critique back-to-back game shows with their original versions?
Yeah, that's interesting. I'd never thought about it that way. I mean, it's certainly for those who had the memory of the two shows from before,
It may have made a difference in bringing them in, but whenever there was articles or critiques, it lumped both of us together many times, and I don't know if that was always fair. So who knows from a programming perspective what works or what doesn't, or why they do something like that. And as you know, which again you'll I'm sure know more about it than me, Bradley, but when we first started the season, we had a format and we adjusted it along the way to have it be more aligned with the original Jack Barry version, because that was one of the criticisms we had, is we were changing things too much. So we changed it back to be closer to Jack's version, but it was too little too late to save it in the ratings.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the two formats used on the Joker's Wild 90. So the first format was the Money Windows format. And instead of me describing the rules of this format, Pat, I thought it would be fun if we heard the rules in your own words.
Now, this is our Joker machine. There are dollars in all three windows, and I'll give it a spin here to show you how it works. On the last window are also the very important jokers. Each spin decides the value of a correct answer. Here's how the game works. The Joker's Wild is a game of definitions. I'll give our contestants a word, a phrase, a person, or a place, and they'll tell me what it means. $500 ends round one, and we'll say goodbye to the player with the least money. The first round is general knowledge. The second round is specific categories. We start the game with a jump-in. The person who answers correctly gets control. Hands on your buttons there. Ready? C-3PO and R2-D2. Yes, Michael?
Star Wars. They weren't Star Wars, they're robots, androids.
That's right. Very good. You took control. That means you get to spin first. Give the wheel a spin.
Let's spin that wheel. Give me some numbers here. Give me a Joker. Hit
me. $45. $65 for everyone you get right. You'll have 3 seconds to answer. And if our judges determine that any part of your answer is incorrect, I'll have to call you wrong. Okay? Here we go. The town of Bedrock.
The Flintstones.
More information, please.
This place where Fred Flintstone lived is the
yes.
caveman.
The twins, the goat, and the virgin.
Those are signs of the zodiac.
Yes. The 10th commandment. The 10th commandment.
Thou shalt not have no other gods before me.
That's wrong. Michael or Judy, you can jump in here. Yes, Michael.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife.
That's right. Very good. A man who knows his commandments.
Now, I might be overanalyzing the game, but to me, the Joker's Wild was, in a sense, the same format as Jeopardy because, like Alex Trebek giving the answer and the contestants supplying the question, you were giving the contestants what something means, and they had to define it. So, do you think the success of Jeopardy at the time played into the creation of this new Joker's Wild format?
Yeah, I think behind the scenes, given what a huge rating giant Jeopardy was, the material isn't quite as highbrow as some of the Jeopardy material, but it had that same sort of a feel to it. So, yeah, I think that was probably one of the things that they thought of along the way. Didn't ultimately pay off, but I'm sure that was one of the things that they were thinking about, sure.
Tic-Tac-Dough 90 remained pretty much the same to the original version in regards to the game format. So were you surprised that the Joker's Wild 90 decided to reinvent how the game was played?
Well, I don't know if I'm surprised because I was such a newcomer that I had no ability to have a real opinion about it. Once I got hired for the job, I used to watch Jack's episodes just to kind of get a feel for his style and how he handled the show. But I wasn't around long enough to have any opinion about whether this is a good thing to change the format or a bad thing. I kind of went with the flow. I was not overwhelmed, but I certainly had my job cut out for me in terms of walking in for the first time hosting a game show and first time ever doing something where you're dealing with a live studio audience and the first time doing something that involved thinking on so many levels. To be a TV weatherman, basically you're given a forecast, you have it put on the map and you ad-lib a little bit around that and try to come up with something clever when you're talking to the other anchors, but there's not a whole lot going on. Whereas in the game show, once you start the show, there's so many levels of keeping score, making sure you're pointing out when somebody can come from behind as you're ending around and we're about to eliminate a contestant. Make sure that the contestants as well as the home audience are aware of this next question could determine that and create some drama around that. So you're thinking on so many levels that I never really had time to analyze whether this was a good idea or a bad idea, to be honest with you.
And one of the most interesting components of the new Joker's Wild, at least from my standpoint, is how much material was used per episode between the general knowledge definitions in the first round to the various categories used in the second round.
Yeah, and you had no idea when we'd go back to a category again. So they always had to have way more material than you would usually ever need.
We're in round two, so all the definitions must fit a specific category. Therefore, the material is more difficult. The first one of you two to reach $2,000 wins the game and goes on to the bonus game. Now, Michael Cedar, you were the first player to reach $500, so you get to spin the wheels first.
Okay.
Go ahead. Give the wheels a spin. Good luck. come on. That's 10, 50, $60 for everyone right. And your choice of categories are movie quotes or classical authors.
Easy. Movie quotes.
I'll give you a quote, and you tell me what movie it's from. Rosebud.
Citizen Kane.
Yes. Yo, Adrian.
Rocky.
Right. I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
From Roger Rabbit.
More information, please.
It's from The Adventures of Roger Rabbit.
That's incorrect. I'm sorry. Michael.
It's from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
That is right. That's the correct power move.
I think there was one time I can remember where we ran out and we got to the last question and we stopped tape. They quickly wrote 2 more questions or whatever was needed for that category. I don't remember the category, but something really quick. Started tape again, and if you were watching on the air, it would just look like, okay, next one, and we'd go on to the next one. But I think that only happened once. Otherwise, they'd always have way more material than they really needed.
Due to low dollar spins or not many correct answers in a row by the contestants, the main game rounds would sometimes last quite a while. So do you think the long lengths of both rounds led to the audience not being as interested in the game?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that could have been a factor, but there was so much going on. Who knows if it was because the rounds were too long. I couldn't really say, to be honest with you.
From my point of view, I love it because more game per 30 minutes, the better for me.
Great. And I think that's the case for some people. It just wasn't enough people at the time, unfortunately.
Not everyone can be us two. As you briefly touched on before, the Joker's Wild bonus round featured the winning contestant having 60 seconds to identify as many words beginning with the same letter as possible, based on up to 3 definitions of a single word that you would read. And for every correct answer, the contestant would earn 1 spin on the Joker machine, in which they would try to match 3 of the same cash amount or prize that appeared on the wheels in order to win it. Brad fact! But one of the elements that confused me about the bonus round was that the cash amounts featured on the wheels, for the most part, didn't exceed $1,000, and many of the prizes were priced below $2,000. So since the winning total for the main game was $2,000, did you find it a bit weird that the contestant would oftentimes win less in cash or prizes in the bonus round than they did in the main game?
Nobody ever pointed that out at the time, but, that's really brilliant on your part to be able to see that. I think people were appreciative if they got to that round that they were going to be coming back again. Anyway, they've already won what they won in the game, so anything that they win there was icing on the cake. And you're right, it wasn't always a higher cash value. They tried to always make it seem as appealing as possible, but it wasn't always a higher cash value, for sure.
5 right, that means 5 spins. To win a prize, all you have to do is match 3 windows. Tell me, what do we have on those wheels today, Edward?
Pat and Jeff on the wheels today are a car stereo, cash amounts of up to $1,000, a Mexico cruise worth over $1,600, a satellite dish worth over $2,400, and a New England ski trip. We'll fly you and a friend to beautiful Maine. Experience the clean air of the Pine Tree State, historic New England sights, its famous rocky coast, and rolling snow-covered hills. You'll enjoy 5 days and nights of vacation fun at Sunday River Ski Resort. 5 mountains of skiing and slopeside lodging make it one of the East's best mountain experiences, furnished by Sunday River. Retail value of your trip over $2,300. Back to you, Pat.
That is excellent. By the way, along the way, you said ranch, and it was actually range, and because you didn't get a chance to hear your 3rd definition, we're going to give it to you anyway. So you'll still get 5 spins, which is great. Very good today, in fact, because if you get Joker, Joker, Joker in 1 spin today, you'll win $29,000 in cash, just like that. 5 spins to do it in. Please step right up there, and I'd love for you to do it.
Oh, God, me too. Let's go now.
All right. Good luck to you.
Please come on.
We've got 1,000 and the satellite dish. Now you can either spin them all and go for the big money, freeze any one of these. You'd have a better shot at the satellite dish if you froze that with 4 spins left.
I've got 4 spins left. I think I'm going to give it a shot, the whole thing.
All right. The jackpot's so big, you're going to be a gambler, man. All right.
For it. Come on.
Spin them all off here.
All Joker.
And see what we can do this time around. We've got 500 Mexican cruise and satellite dish. Now what are you going to do? 3 spins left. You can spin them all and go for the Joker, Joker, Joker.
Let's go for the big one.
All right.
Let's go for the big
one. One more time, we're going to spin them all.
Go for the big one. Come on, Joker. Come on now. Joker. Come on. Joker. Car stereo. You just won a
car stereo, and my heart almost stopped there. Very good. Congratulations. It's a great car stereo. Very, very close. All right, Ed, please tell Jeff what he just won.
Jeff, Panasonic's Take-Along car stereo system features seat scan tuning, auto-reverse cassette deck, soft carrying case, and three-way speakers with angled tweeter. Furnished by Panasonic. Back to you, Pat.
As I mentioned during my story, the moment that got me hooked to the show was when a contestant won $36,000 in the bonus round.
Okay, now we get Joker, 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 and as I mentioned, you'll get $36,000 cash. Good luck on that.
Thank you.
Step right up here, please. 2 spins to do it in. All right, your first spin is pool table, Mountain Lake Resort, or pool table. Now you can go for the better bet, or you can spin them all for the big money.
I'll spin again.
All right, spin them all. It's your last spin. Let's look for Joker, Joker, Joker. We're getting Joker! 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 $36,000!
Do you think a moment like that was needed for the Joker's Wild to get the audience intrigued by an exciting win?
Well, in the moment when you're doing something like that, there's obviously so much excitement around it. I don't know if that always translates to the home audience, as evidenced by other shows that I've done. Like when I did The Big Spin, we did well here in California when it was on the air, but it wasn't gangbusters, and yet there were times where I was giving away $3 million to one person.
It's slowing down. Can we hit $1 million? Oh my God! It's got to stay for 5 seconds, and it is official. You just won $3 million on Play-Doh. Congratulations!
Man,
oh my God! You are a $3 million winner.
I can't believe it.
Wow! I am so happy for you.
So the size of the jackpot isn't necessarily correlate to the size of the audience.
Another Joker's Wild bonus round question I have is, if a contestant got 2 of the same prizes and a joker, 2 jokers and a prize, or a natural triple during one spin, they were forced to keep that prize instead of having the opportunity to spin again for maybe something better. Brad fact. I personally wasn't a big fan of this rule, especially if the contestant had a few spins left. Do you know why this was a rule in the bonus round?
I'm looking at it from a producer's perspective now. Back then, I was just doing what I was told. But one of the things is if they spun again and got a lesser prize or no prize, you don't want to leave people disappointed. I guess they could have let you keep that prize that you got and then spin more, but then maybe that was a budget-oriented thing. But whenever possible, you want to end the game show, as you know, Bradley, on a high note. So if somebody won, that's a good place to stop versus spin again and then all of a sudden didn't turn out that way. Along the way, I've had a chance to produce a couple of different game shows. And when you're in the pitch process with GSN or wherever you're pitching it, you play the game in the room. And you bring in buzzers, you have electronic software, so you get a real sense of the game. And you're always trying to look at, okay, how do we manipulate this in the room so it ends on a win? Because you want it to end exciting, not on a downer note. So that's just part of even getting the show sold in the first place.
On January 7th, 1991, the format was changed, and as you mentioned after being introduced by announcer Ed McKay, the new format took the best of the classic Joker's Wild and combined it with the current Joker game. Brad fact.
Welcome to the game where knowledge is king and Lady Luck is queen. It's the Joker's Wild. Now, here's your host, Pat Finn.
Hey, welcome. Awesome. Thank you. Whoa, that's great. Thank you very much. Great having you here today. Today especially, because today we're going to do something very special on the Joker's Wild. We've taken the best of the classic Joker's Wild and combined it with the new Joker game. Now we've joined the best of both worlds, and I hope you agree it's going to be great. First of all, let's meet our players here. Hey, Greg.
I'm Greg Jackson. I'm a paralegal from New York City.
Good to have you here on the show. Welcome. Hey, Peter.
Hello, Pat. I'm Peter Feeney from Ventura County, where I'm starting a new career in radio.
Good luck with that, Peter. And our returning champion, John Schwartz, who's won over $15,600 in cash and prizes in 5 days. Good to have you back here, John. Good to have all three of you, especially today. Here's how we play. Now, just like the classic Joker, up on the wheels are categories. In addition, the Joker may appear in any window. Now, the Joker is wild, so a player can turn the Joker into a category, any category they see on the wheels. Now, if you choose a single category, you'll get $25. A double category is worth $50, and a triple is worth $100 for each correct answer here on our game. Get 3 Jokers, and automatically we'll add $250 to your score, just like that. As you know, $1,000 ends round 1, and then we have to say goodbye to the player with the least money.
And now, because the Jokers appeared in all 3 windows, you finally got to say during the main game, Joker, Joker, Joker.
As we go to the next round, Greg, you're in charge. Spin the wheels.
Come on, Joker, give me a Joker. Come on, baby, give me a Joker.
Joker, 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 all right. Good for you. Now, that's worth $250, and also, because it's a triple, each correct answer is now worth $100. Now, here are your categories. As we look up on the Joker machine, we see general knowledge, math, and movies.
General knowledge.
Okay, we'll go with general knowledge at $100 apiece. It separates the Gulf of California from the Pacific Ocean.
The Straits of Santa Barbara.
That's incorrect. Peter.
Baja, California.
That's right. Baja Peninsula is correct.
Yeah, again, for me at the time, it was just trying to get down what I'm supposed to do here in the first place, so I wasn't really analyzing that. Obviously, once we changed the format and I got to do the traditional Joker, 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 like Jack Barry, it definitely felt a lot more comfortable that way. The other way, you could go half a show, it would seem like, and not ever get to that final window of a Joker. So, yeah, it was certainly a lot more fun going closer to the original format.
I was actually watching an episode today, and not one Joker came up until about midway through the second round.
Really? Yeah, see, they should have had you back then helping them develop it. We had a time machine to go back, but I'm not quite sure what they were thinking with that. I think they were trying to mix things up, do something a little different, and sometimes you experiment like that, and it really takes off, and then other times you discover what doesn't work.
I always say I was born in the wrong decade.
Well, your time may still be to come. You may change your mind on that once you're hosting your own show, Bradley. Who knows?
Hopefully. So, for the final first-run week of shows, which aired from March 4th through March 8th of 1991, the original main game format consisting of dollar amounts on the Joker machine was brought back. Brad fact! Were these 5 episodes never aired when the format change went into effect so the producers wanted to air them during the last week? Or was there another reason for bringing back the original format for the final 5 episodes?
We didn't go backwards when we were in the taping. Those were just episodes that hadn't aired by the time they wanted to get the new format on the air. So when they wanted to get the new format on the air, they wanted to do that as quickly as possible once they made that decision. And there were some shows that just hadn't aired yet, so they brought those back around.
Were you disappointed that The Joker's Wild ended after only 1 season?
Of course. It was a dream come true. I loved doing it, and to find out that it was ending was just a tough pill to swallow. But when there started to be interest in other things like the Til You Drop, that was great for me. So naturally I was disappointed, but I was also excited that there's going to be other opportunities after that. When I taped the audition for Wheel of Fortune with Vanna, at the beginning of a taping, they put the camera on you and they have you identify yourself, say your name, and who is your agent. And I was a TV weatherman. I didn't have an agent. So it was like, okay, we're going to have you say your name and your agent. And I yelled over to Vanna and I said, hey, Vanna, who's your agent? And she said, Richard Lawrence. And the camera came on me and it says, my name is Pat Finn and my agent's Richard Lawrence. Because I figured if I got this job, whoever Richard Lawrence was, I had no idea at the time, he would, I'm sure, be willing to negotiate the contract for me if I got it. And I didn't get that job, but I called up Richard, and he wanted to sign me anyway for future stuff, which was awesome. And I remember at the time he was telling me, you're up in San Francisco, you can come in for auditions, but just don't get your hopes up. There's people that come to this town, and they're here for 2 or 3 years before something happens, but we're in this for the long haul. Let's make this happen. It's like, okay, great. The very next month, I get a call to come down for an audition for Joker's Wild and ended up getting that one. So to this day, Richard, who's still my agent, to this day, he still laughs about the fact that he had given me so much of a disclaimer about how long it was going to take. And then the very next audition, I was fortunate enough to get that job.
So in a sense, Vanna White started your game show hosting career.
Absolutely. I used to tease about that. For a while, I filled in on doing the live version of the Price is Right game show that would tour around the country and casinos and universities and stuff like that. It was a period of time that my friend Mark Wahlberg couldn't do it, and he recommended me for it. It was a good time for me to do it, so I did it for a couple of months. But in that show, they would play a clip from Bob Barker introducing Vanna White coming down to contestant row on The Price is Right, which was her first game show appearance.
The fabulous 60-minute prize is right. Michelle Brachetti, come on down. Richard Giddings, come on down. Bertha Frazier, come on down. And Vanna White, come on down. You are the first 4 contestants on The Price is Right. And now, here's the star of The Price is Right, Bob Barker.
I thank you very much, and I welcome you to The Price is Right. Backstage, they have monitors that the fellows on the crew can watch what's going on out here, just like the monitors here. They're just like television sets. When Vanna was invited to come on down, one of them read her T-shirt where it says, "Get serious." And he said, I am.
So in the live Price is Right show, when Bob Barker would do that, and it's like, and here's Vanna White, Bob would kind of tease about, I wonder whatever happened to her. And then that was an opportunity for me to step in and acknowledge Vanna. Like, the only reason I'm in game shows is thanks to Vanna White. If she wasn't so great with me, I'm sure I wouldn't have gotten an agent and all of that. So yeah, my entire career was thanks to Vanna White being so great with me.
As you mentioned, back in 2017, The Joker's Wild returned to television with rapper Snoop Dogg as host.
Joker, Joker, Joker. Time for some church. Hello? Remix. Can I get an amen? Ladies and gentlemen, everybody's at Joker today because you're kicking it with The Joker's Wild. Give it up for your host, Snoop Dogg!
Thank you. Have a seat. Need you to make yourselves at home. Crackle like y'all. Welcome to The Joker's Wild. We're in for an amazing show tonight. We got 2 players competing for a chance to win $50,000. Not only that, but we also have special celebrity appearances, including Matthew McConaughey and G-Eazy.
I'm curious, what were your thoughts on it?
I thought it was creative. It wasn't concerned about keeping the Joker's Wild tradition going, but Snoop is a talented guy, and it was a pretty unique take on the whole band. So in that sense, I enjoyed watching it. I'm sure that there are diehard fans who had a problem with some of the way they handled things, but I thought it was done pretty creatively. So I enjoyed it. I speak at different groups from time to time and lead these weekend seminars, and many times I'll tease when I'm talking about my background that they brought Joker's Wild back and Snoop Dogg's hosting it, and I'm pretty sure I'm the only person in the room here who's ever been replaced in their job by Snoop Dogg, and everybody kind of laughs about that. But I thought they did a clever job of revamping the format. It's just not necessarily true to Joker's Wild, but it's certainly worked for Snoop Dogg's personality.
When you heard that The Joker's Wild was coming back, were you hoping to be involved with the show in some way?
I had a passing thought. There'd been a couple of attempts at reviving it over at Sony, and I know our mutual friend John Ricci was involved with one of the versions.
The Joker's Wild was also one of the possible game shows to replace Guiding Light on CBS, but the slot eventually went to Let's Make a Deal. Brad fact!
See, again, you know more than I do, Bradley.
It's all these years of reading and watching.
Got it. Very cool.
Well, now it's time to talk about the show that most people probably know you from, Shop, Till You Drop. I still remember the first time I saw the show, and that was during a weekly summertime special GSN did back in 2006 called The 50 Greatest Game Shows of All Time.
What makes a game show great? Ask 10 people on the street and you'll get 10 different answers. It's the gameplay, the stars, the humor, the suspense, the surprises, the money. Welcome to the 50 Greatest Game Shows of All Time. I'm Bill Dwyer. I've hosted game shows myself, and I love them for all those reasons. We here at GSN feel these classic series are landmarks in television entertainment, so we're going to show you some of the best episodes in game show history.
Shop Till You Drop was number 45 on the list, and after watching the episode that GSN aired, I was hooked. And you should have seen my excitement back in 2013 when GSN finally decided to air daily reruns of Shop Till You Drop.
Yeah, it was fun seeing the old shows on the air. Shop Till You Drop was such a fun show to do because not only the format of the show, but the team that ran that from Stone Stanley just was a real family that we go into and work with, and some of the same people over the years that I would get to work with there. So for me, that was a blast. You go in and tape 2 shows in the morning, have lunch, and then tape 3 shows in the afternoon and have fun. And whether I was working with Mark or then after that, Dee, it just was a blast.
What many people probably don't know is that the pilot of Shop Till You Drop was hosted by a man named Scott Harriott. Brad fact! I remember you mentioning on Wink Martindale's YouTube channel as an introduction to the pilot that when you first saw the tape of the pilot, you knew you wanted to be the host of Shop Till You Drop.
Hey Wink, always wanted to work with you. I guess this is the next best thing. I get to be on your YouTube and Facebook page, so congratulations on that. And thanks for the opportunity to talk about Shop Till You Drop. I'm Pat Finn, and of course I'm the host of Shop Till You Drop. But the first time I ever saw the show, I wasn't the host. It was actually a pilot done by Scott Harriott. And for whatever reason, they weren't going to use Scott anymore on the series. And when I saw the pilot, I realized this is something I want to do. I had just finished Joker's Wild. I was looking for my next game show, and I thought this is going to be a lot of fun. I get to just have a blast with people, give away some great prizes, and do some pretty silly stuff around the mall. This is your chance to see what turned into 8 great seasons of Shop Till You Drop. This was the original pilot with Scott Harriott.
How would you like to win the fantasy shopping trip of a lifetime to Rome, Paris, New York, London, or Hong Kong? That's what our contestants will be playing for today on the wildest shopping game ever, Shop Till You Drop. Meet today's challenger. On our first team, she's a pharmacologist and he's a publishing rep. Please welcome Kurt and Debbie Kaplan. And their opponent, he's a photographer and she's an events coordinator. Please welcome Pam Morey and Mel Cavalier. And now here's the host of Shop Till You Drop, Scott Harriott.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Hi, how are you? Oh, what a sterling audience we have today. Thanks, everybody, and welcome to the mall here on Shop Till You Drop.
So what was it that you saw on the show that you instantly thought, I want to host Shop Till You Drop?
Well, it's a game show that has a structure to it, so that part was easy for me and fun. But then some of the silly stuff that you got to do was really entertaining. And with what's going on in television nowadays in reality TV, it certainly wouldn't be groundbreaking. But back then, to see some of the stuff that you had couples do, guys having to wear nylons and makeup with each other and rolling around and playing silly games, to me it was fun television. And the audience thought so too. We did really well. The first 2 years I think we were on, well, you know the dates better than I do, but when we were on Lifetime, we were the #1 rated cable game show, which there weren't a ton of cable game shows, but to still be #1 at something was pretty extraordinary.
Did you go up against anyone for the Shop Till You Drop hosting gig? And did you have to film any test runs to get the job?
I don't know who I was up against, so I'm sure there were other people that were auditioning for it. I first did some run-throughs in Stone Stanley's offices, and they liked me, and I was their pick, they said at the time. But Lifetime wasn't convinced. Women's Network that they wanted a guy that would be definitely appealing to the women, and they weren't sure about that. So we taped a version on a stage, a couple of segments of it to show the executives at Lifetime. And then out of that, I got the job. In fact, the way I got the job was David Stanley and Scott Stone on the phone calling me to say, well, here's the good news and the bad news. The good news is you got the job. The bad news is we need you to go to the gym and lose 10 pounds and put color in your hair to lighten it up. And it's like, okay, fine, whatever it takes. So that was the beginning of the whole thing.
Doesn't Lifetime know that Pat Finn has one of the best smiles in television?
I think it took him a while to win them over, but thank you for that. To this day, I'm very grateful to Scott and David for taking a stand for me because they had to fight for me a little bit, but definitely paid off getting a chance to do 8 seasons together.
Shop Till You Drop featured 2 teams consisting of 2 people who have a pre-existing relationship. Most of these teams were couples who were married, but you would also have teams of friends or coworkers or siblings. So were you surprised that so many non-married couples were on the show? Because then they have to worry about how they're going to split the prizes they won and possibly compromise regarding who gets the vacation for 2 if they won the Shop Till You Drop round.
We'd always encourage them to have a plan for that ahead of time. And almost always, like if there was a trip at stake or whatever, they knew each other well enough that they'd be willing to go on a trip together. But every once in a while you'd hear of, well, if we win the trip, I'm going with my partner in life. But if you win this or this cash or this prize, you'd get that. So every once in a while it was a factor. But we really looked for people who had enough of a relationship, because that's what made the show so interesting, is because you were able to actually take a peek into their relationship, whether they were best friends or roommates or a couple, even if they weren't married. Or certainly there were times that we had couples on who were same-sex couples, although we wouldn't say that on the air, but mostly it worked.
The main game of Shop Till You Drop consisted of 2 rounds of stunts followed by a question round. Now, many of these stunts revolved around pricing items, and many of the questions were shopping related. But the show also had many stunts and questions that had nothing to do with pricing or shopping.
Now, Misty, what could be more fun in a hot summer day than, I don't know, squirting Brian with sticky fruity drinks? Not much. That's the correct answer, because that's just what you're going to be doing here if you decide to play. Each of our 5 little squirt bottles contains a different Snapple flavor corresponding to the ingredients that are on this table right here. Let me tell you about the ingredients. At the top, we have cantaloupe cocktail. Then we work our way down to fruit punch and kiwi strawberry. And across the bottom, lemonade and mango madness. Now, in a moment, Brian, you'll walk behind our curtain right there. You'll stick your face through the opening, and then, Misty, you'll take one of these squirt bottles and squirt into his mouth. And you'll just keep squirting until you get a good taste, Brian, and then you can guess. Now, you only get one guess, so make sure you make it a good one. And if you can correctly identify 3 flavors in 1 minute, you guys will win, if you decide to play. What do you think? Pass or play?
Pass. Pass. Pass.
You're gonna pass? Okay, head back over there. We'll put you in a position right here, Lori. Kevin, if you'll step right inside there for me. And again, you get 1 guess, so make it a good one. We'll put time on the clock.
Come on, Lori.
And this will give you a hint. This is what you're guessing. One of these right here. Ready, set, and squirt.
Lemonade.
Okay, we'll put that next to the lemonade. Next one.
Cantaloupe.
Okay, we'll put that next to there. Next one.
Kiwi strawberry.
Okay, here you go. Here's your next one. I'll put that right there.
Mango.
Okay, I'll put that next to the mango.
Man.
Quickly, pick something.
Mango.
You want to switch it? So you want that one on the mango? Because you already put something on the...
Fruit punch.
You're going to go with fruit punch on that one? Okay, we'll put that up with the fruit punch. That's all of them, so if you'll step right out here, let's see how you did. That was very good. Refreshments and prizes on our show. All right, let's work our way down. We need to get at least 3 right in order to do it and make that worth it for you there.
Okay.
Cantaloupe cocktail is what you said here. We've color-coded the bottle, so let's see if the color on there matches. Under here, we do have that hot pink color. You can see that, so that's 1. Very good. Now we'll work our way down here. You put the orange. You weren't sure about the fruit punch. You weren't sure if it was the mango or not. Well, under here, the color that we have is yellow, so that's not going to be a match on that one, so we can't give you that one. Over here, you said that this was the kiwi strawberry. It sounded like it was one of your favorite flavors. Yeah. Well, it's not kiwi strawberry, so we can't give you that one. We'll come down here. You said this was the mango madness, and no, this was actually the other one. And finally, on this one that you said was lemonade, you got that one right, but that's only 2 and you needed 3. I'm sorry. Back here to center court, if you will. Now, several daytime talk show hosts have appeared in movies in addition to their duties behind a mic. Now, this next game, it'll be your job to match the hosts to their big screen work. On the wall, we have 7 different talk show hosts. Those are Ricky Lake, Jerry Springer, Oprah, Rosie O'Donnell, Chris Rock, Queen Latifah,
and Dennis Miller. In a moment, I'm going to give you the names of the movies, and it's going to be your job to run the movie to the wall and place it on the shelf of the host who appeared in it. You'll have 1 minute to get 5 out of 7 correct. What do you think? Pass or play?
We're going to play.
We're going to play.
Okay, good. Put 1 minute on the clock. Ready, set, and your first one is Lethal Weapon 4. Go, Lethal Weapon 4.
Chris Rock, go, go, go.
Come right back to here for this next one. Right over here. Next one is Ringmaster. Ringmaster, go.
Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer.
Next one we have for you is Serial Mom. Serial Mom. Here you go.
That is, oh my gosh, which one was that?
Quickly.
I don't know.
I think it was Dennis Miller.
You can move it in the end if you need to. The Bone Collector is next. Bone Collector. Here you go.
That one is,
Queen Latifah?
no.
It's Queen Latifah.
Next is Disclosure. Disclosure. Ready and go.
What?
Disclosure. That one was the one. I think that one had Oprah in it. I think
The next one is The Color Purple.
No,
The Color Purple.
This one's Oprah. That one's Oprah. Change that. Put Dennis. Okay.
And finally, A League of Their Own. A League of Their Own.
This
Here
was
you go.
Rosie O'Donnell. That one's Rosie O'Donnell.
Okay, you now have 10 seconds. If you need to
Okay.
switch anything, you can do it quickly.
Let's put,
You're now at 5 seconds, guys. It's now.
There.
So, 3, 2, 1.
yeah, looks like it.
Okay. Let's see here. You need to get 5 out of 7 right in order to do it. We'll start over here with Ricky Lake's Serial Mom. And indeed, Ricky Lake was in there. Okay. Turn, if you remember. Very good. Next one. Jerry Springer is the Ringmaster. So that is 2. Next one. You remember that Oprah is in The Color Purple. That's 3. Right over here, A League of Their Own. Rosie O'Donnell. Madonna was a good movie. That's 4. One more. And you guys will do it. Lethal Weapon 4 with Chris Rock. You did it. Very good. By the way, in the last 2, Bone Collector, Queen Latifah, you got that one right. And Dennis Miller in Disclosure. Good job, you guys. Pays to watch a lot of TV, doesn't it?
Were you surprised that all of the stunts in questions weren't shopping related?
They tested so many other games and stunts that never made it to the air. They would test it. They would bring in contestants and do that regularly as part of deciding what made it to the air. So they were just looking for things that were entertaining. And then sometimes it was a real stretch when you'd say things you'd find in a mall. You know, there's movie theaters in malls. Let's talk about movies. But I don't think the audience minded that. It was just mostly about making it as entertaining as possible.
There were many Shop Till You Drop stunts that resembled stunts played on the classic game show Beat the Clock, including stunts that have contestants wearing crazy items.
Well, you've just finished shopping in a tropical paradise and you're about to get on the plane, and guess what? No carry-on luggage allowed. So you do the logical thing, of course. You try to bring all your belongings along by sticking them in Kevin's pants. Okay? Actually, we're going to provide the pants for you if you decide to play. So what do you think? Pass or play?
We'll play.
You're going to play? Okay, good. Get a smile on your face. You're going to enjoy this, aren't you, Kevin? Why don't you start to slip these on, if you will, and let me tell you about this. What we're going to do is we're going to have you have those pants on, and we're going to have you put all of this stuff in your pants, and if you can do that within 1 minute, you'll win. The only thing you don't put in the pants are the hat, because, well, our producers thought you looked silly in that, and they were right. What do you know? Now, you know what they say, 2 heads are better than 1? Well, you better hope that that's true for this next game, because in a moment, you 2 will wear very stylish plunger hats. In fact, can I have my 2 lovely assistants bring out those stylish plunger hats? Very nice, thank you. By the way, this is a woman that knows more about style than anybody in my life. It's my daughter, Caitlin, here, and her friend, Sindel. Thank you, Sindel. Good job, you guys. You can just head right back there. Here you go. Now, you're going to be wearing these stylish plunger hats to carry items from our pedestal right here to the pool right over there. Now, you can't use your hands. You can only use your heads with your skill and the plunger, okay? Now, you'll have 1 minute to get 4 out of 8 items in the pool if you decide to play.
Was this what the producers of the show are going for with the stunts? A take on silly Beat the Clock stunts, with possibly the added element of pricing items or knowledge based on a certain pop culture topic?
Yeah, the silly stuff really played well, and then for me, I just had so much fun with that, and then whether it was Mark or Dee, those guys were always there to be silly and have fun. I think that's one of the reasons that the show was so successful for so many years, is that if you tuned in, you kind of tuned into the craziness and the fun. Not that I'm equating it to this, but the best parts of the Carol Burnett show were when people would bust up and break a scene and be laughing, and so it had that quality to it, watching this as a game show, that it wasn't all buttoned down straight, done in a way that you could expect the same thing. You could tune in and actually be surprised at what happens in the moment.
And another part that I loved was when D. Bradley Baker would be involved in the stunts, and specifically when he dressed up, my favorite being Grandma Curmudgeon.
Now, it looks like for our next stunt, Grandma Curmudgeon has been doing some shopping. Grandma?
Oh, look, Patrick. Look at the pretty bags of things I have.
In each bag, she has several items, including one secret ingredient. Now, in a moment, she's going to read a riddle. But once you figure out which secret ingredient Grandma is talking about, then the way it's going to work is, Vince, you'll search through the bags until you find it. Then you'll toss it over here to Tracy. And then, Tracy, you'll get it in the mixing bowl that we have here. If you're right, you're going to hear this. However, if you're wrong, you'll hear this. And that means that you got to try again. You'll have 1 minute to get all 5 ingredients correct and into the bowl. Okay? All right, we're going to put 1 minute on the clock. You can go over there if you like, Vince. Get ready to start looking through the bags. Ready, set, and go.
All right. It can be heavy, it can be light, or whipped on a Sunday. It's the very first bite.
Whipped cream.
Oh, gracious.
Okay. That's 1.
Having a devil of a time unscrambling my clue. Don't fry your brain. It will come to you.
Okay, quicker, Dee.
Charlie Brown was 1 and Snoopy 2. Enjoyed by elephants at the zoo.
Okay, peanuts.
It looks like flour but tastes so sweet. Sprinkled on a donut makes a special treat. In China, it's sticky. At weddings, it flies. Grown in a patty or water knee-high.
Right?
Right.
Oh!
You did it! Congratulations!
Yep, he was so great at playing characters like that. And for me, I would sometimes have a hard time keeping a straight face when he would do something that silly and come out.
Now, some people love the taste of chocolate, and some people love the taste, of course, of vegetables. In this game, Grandma Curmudgeon combined those 2 great tastes in one stunning taste sensation, chocolate-covered vegetables. Oh, yeah. You don't have to worry about this, by the way. You just have to touch them, because we have Grandma here now to tell us about her latest creation. Grandma?
Oh, Patrick, it's so wonderful to see you.
Yes, you too, Grandma.
You know, I wanted to tell the ladies at home that if there's anything you want to cook up, just pull something out of the cellar and put that in a pot and boil it. It always works for me.
That kind of explains meals at your house, Grandma, doesn't it?
I'm sure it does.
Part of it is that I'm not a stand-up comedian. I was just somebody who was great at running a game and had a good voice and look, and I loved having fun. So when they put stuff like that in there with Dee or in the early days with Mark, it just gave it a whole other level. I was almost the straight man to their silliness.
I'm like you, Pat. I don't consider myself a stand-up comedian, but I consider myself to be very good at running a game. And when I look in the mirror, I definitely see someone good-looking. But now, a majority of game shows are being hosted by comedians, which is annoying to me because traditional hosts like ourselves are not being represented anymore. So don't you think game show producers need to hire people like us, especially if they want to build on the idea of nostalgia?
Well, personally, I think that's the case. I would love to see that. And I get their point of view. By bringing in somebody that has a name like that, it does make a difference. Our experience when we've casted for hosts for game shows over the years is not all comedians can do it because there's times in the game where you have to play the drama and be a little more serious and really add to the excitement of something. And there's some comedians who just don't know how to not try to tell a joke in the moment. So it sometimes will distract from it. But for the most part, people who are on the air hosting it do a really great job. It'd be fun to go back to the old style and give some people a chance. Although some of the GSN games of what they're doing with America Says and some of their other shows, it definitely follows the old style.
Although you hosted The Joker's Wild, when you began hosting Shop Till You Drop in 1991, you were still relatively new to the world of game shows, and this was Mark's first on-camera game show role. So being that you and Mark were basically 2 new young guys hosting and announcing a game show, was there an instant camaraderie? And was there an agreement between you 2 that you wanted to do your best and make Shop Till You Drop succeed?
That's interesting. We were both told we were going to go to lunch and meet each other, and we were told the chemistry was important at this lunch. And I went into the lunch not knowing, was he already cast? And they're looking at me to partner with him. He was going into the lunch wondering, well, has Pat already been cast as the host? And they're looking at me to be the announcer sidekick. So we turned on the chemistry. It's like we were so connected. It's like we were best friends from the moment we met because part of it is our job depended on it. And thank goodness we really do appreciate each other. We connected. I've known Mark and his wife, Robbie, since those days and stayed good friends with them. And we've remained friends. But in the beginning, from the moment we met, that was really important.
On the air, it just kind of came naturally. Mark is such a professional that he was really great at what he did. And then back in those days, we had a live studio audience, and he did the warm-up for the studio audience in between being the announcer. So I got to really appreciate his ability to interact with people and have fun with people. Eventually, we stopped using a live studio audience and just had somebody there with a keyboard that had all the different audience sounds and laughters and a different level of applause and all of that. So when we made the transition to that, it was kind of strange because you'd come out, you're waving as if you're waving to that same studio audience, and you'd hear the cheers and people screaming and all that, but it was all just done by somebody who was really talented on a keyboard.
And it was so much fun seeing audience members on the second floor of the mall at the tables.
Yep, and we'd always make sure we had people for that, and that was fun. A lot of times it was friends and family of people from the cast and crew, and they got a great bird's eye view of it. Sometimes got ran into or knocked over as contestants were running around the mall, but people always enjoyed having a chance to do that.
Moving on, the Shoppers Challenge round, which was the question round, involved the teams having 1.5 minutes to answer as many questions as they can. Once again, you were hosting a show that had a fast-paced round in which you had to read quickly. So when you first started hosting Shop Till You Drop and reached the Shoppers Challenge round, did it feel like deja vu with regards to the bonus round of the Joker's Wild?
Yeah, and it wasn't quite as fast as Joker's Wild bonus round, but maybe that even had something to do with why I got that job, is because in that round, again, the more questions you can get to in 90 seconds, the better chance of people running up the score, and either team could win at that point. Because as you went into that round, it almost didn't matter what your score was up until then, because it could go either way in that round, depending on how well people played.
I just checked out the questions, and I've got some good ones in our Shoppers Challenge round. Do you have good answers? Yes. Oh, yeah, we're about to find out. Please step into position. Ladies, we start with you. We put 1 minute, 30 seconds on the clock. Good luck to both teams. What designer makes the Polo brand of jeans? Yes, Bonnie?
Ralph Lauren.
That's correct. Which of the following department stores is accredited with selling the first Estee Lauder products? Bloomingdale's, Saks, or Macy's?
Macy's.
No, that's wrong.
Saks.
That's right. Which of the following companies makes the Max Grip hand tools? Is it Craftsman, Stanley, or Black & Decker? Yes, you're in first,
Stanley.
Darlene. That's right. Would you most likely use a skillet for watering your lawn, scrambling your eggs, or yes,
Scrambling
Lee?
eggs.
That's correct. Which of the following companies makes the Sammy Sosa brand of sneakers? Nike, Fila, or Reebok? Yes, Darlene?
Nike.
No, that's wrong.
Fila.
That's correct. In the world of women's undergarments, bra is the abbreviated term for what article of clothing?
Brassiere.
Yes, that's correct. According to legend, which of the following shapes was the table at King Arthur's knights as they sat there? Was it, yes, Bonnie?
The round table.
That's right. Of the following, which would you most likely find in the vanity case? Car jack, cosmetics, or comforters? Yes, Lee.
Cosmetics.
That's right. Finish the name of this popular gadget store. Hammaker, what? Schlemmer. Of the following, which award-winning rapper got her start in the group The Fijis? Was it Khalees? Yes, Lee?
Lauryn Hill.
No, Lauryn Hill or Mahalia Jackson, Don? Oh, it is Lauryn Hill. I'm sorry. Next one. Is the Cadillac Escalade a coupe, an SUV, or a minivan? Yes, Darlene.
SUV.
That's right. Of the following, what is the Clinique company best known for manufacturing cold medicine, purses, or skincare products? Yes, Lee?
Skincare.
That's correct. While visiting Washington, D.C., out of time, and Darlene and Lee, you're going to Shop Till You Drop.
Trying to remember that language I had said so many times. I ask a question about shopping, you ring in, and if you're right, you get the points. If you ring in, you're wrong, your opponents get 3 seconds to answer the question. Then switch places quickly with your partner because then it's their turn. We're going to do this for 90 seconds, and the team with the most points at the end of this round will go on to shop till they drop.
Now we just need a couple of teams and we're ready to play. The team with the most points at the end of the Shoppers Challenge round advanced to the Shop Till You Drop round. And for the listeners who may not remember how it works, the winning team had 6 boxes, each with a gift inside. They could either keep a gift or exchange it for one of the boxes featuring an unknown prize located in front of a store in the mall. If a team could spend $2,500 or more in the 1.5 minutes provided, they would win a dream vacation. Brad fact! Now, in a majority of the games, contestants would trade all of the initial gifts they were given for a box at a mall store because the initial gifts were mainly low-valued items. Was the reason why the initial prizes were mostly low-priced items because the producers wanted to see as much running around the mall as possible?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what made the show exciting is you always hope that people would be running upstairs with 15 seconds left and running down as quickly as they can and almost falling over as they run to hit the buzzer and hit it just in time. So you're always looking for that excitement. We'd make it very clear for people, if you're going to win this round, you can't just stay downstairs. You got to run upstairs as part of it. That was definitely part of what we were creating, was making sure people were exchanging as often as possible. Fortunately, we had people who won, I think, on average, 2 to 3 times a week. They won the big prize, so that was always exciting to be able to get to the last box on the table and have it put them over the top.
Welcome back. You guys ready for a chance at that dream vacation? Yeah. To where, D?
To Honolulu! Outrigger Islander Waikiki just steps to Waikiki Beach and world-class shopping and dining. Enjoy a true Hawaiian experience at the Outrigger Islander Waikiki where your island adventure begins.
Very good. 1 minute, 30 seconds on the clock. Ready, set, and go. Let's do it. Take a look at our Titleist Professional 100 golf balls with liquid center wound technology. They are going back. We're going to drop those off at 24 Carats. It's our jewelry store. Get it over to Grandma and hit the bell. Next one, we have a spa towel and mint, a luxurious treat by Banana Republic, but that's going back. We're going to land at where? Levy's Outdoor Explorer. And the next one, a perpetual calendar designed by Gideon Dagen for Mama, New York. Gets that over there, and the bell. Next one, we have the Tornado Silver Swan Deco Oscillating Fan, a replication of the 1934 classic. She's yelling, he's not hearing it. There you go. 40 seconds. 100% cotton jersey knit sheet set, the comfortable feel of your favorite t-shirt. Takes that back, and the bell, and finally, our rusty dial clock, Rustic Charm by Newcastle. What do you think? Quickly.
Gift Galore.
Goes to Gift Galore. And the bell, good. Come out over here, guys. Let's see how you did.
I just slipped another disc, Patrick.
All right, we'll just slip right over there if you can, D. We'll work our way down the table and see if we can get you guys to Hawaii. We go to Gifts Galore first. That's our gift store, and come back out with this nice big gift. D.
Delta's new Monitor 1800 jetted shower features 2 adjustable jet sprays for an invigorating, enhanced showering experience from Delta Faucet Company.
You took back the clock that's worth $80. You got something worth $299. That's a nice start. Next, we go to the department store. You were yelling to him to go there. And we have some birthday candles. What is that? D.
From Wallace, this grand 14-inch silver-plated cake plate. Beautifully crafted to add charm and elegance to any table setting from Wallace International Silversmiths.
You took back the fan worth $129. You got something worth $150. So at least you're trading up there. Outdoor Explorer is next, and we have this for cleaning up the outdoors. D.
Shop Vac's all-around wet-dry portable vacuum and the quiet QPV wet-dry vac that vacuums water in one place and pumps it to another from Shop Vac.
You took back the spa towel worth $55. You got yourself something worth $325. That's nice. Okay, next we go to 24 Carats. It's our jewelry store. Of course, inside we have this lovely piece of jewelry. D.
Michael C. Fina's beautiful two-tone gold link bracelet from their spectacular selection of jewelry, silver, china, and giftware. Visit them at michaelcfina.com.
The golf balls were worth $54. You took those back to get something worth $441. That was a very good trade. We now go to Canthony's Furniture Mart, and inside we have this. Steve.
This Carlisle high-leg reclining chair's versatility makes it perfect for any room in the house. Maple veneer arms flow into the front legs for a sleek, streamlined effect. From Lazy Boy, they make rooms that make a home.
The calendar was $35 that you took back. This is $589. All right. $6.96 to go as we go to Gary's Gadgets, our final box. And inside, we're going to find out if you guys are going on the trip to Hawaii. D, tell us about this.
The Beam Central Cleaning System. No heavy vacuum to love. Fast, easy clean for every surface in your home, from floor to ceiling, from Beam.
Okay, we need it to be worth $696 in order for you guys to do it. But the question is, did you win the trip to Hawaii? It needs to be $696. It's actually $900. Thank you. And thank you for being here. We'll see you next time right here on Shop Till You Drop. Goodbye, my friends.
After the shopper ran back to the podium to deliver the box and hit the bell, the boxes will be arranged in a specific order, but not necessarily the order in which they were picked up 1 through 6. But rather, the order of the boxes will be based on the prize's value, starting from the lowest priced item and going up to the highest priced item. I'm guessing the reason for this is because the gradual price increase would provide a better reveal when it came to the sixth box and whether or not the contestants won the trip, correct?
Yeah, we would always do our best to make sure that as it laid out, you didn't win on the fourth or the fifth prize. You wanted it to be like you had no idea when you got to that last one. And for me, it was always fun when it could go either way because I would peek into the envelope and know if they did it or not. So sometimes I'd get a chance to mess with them and just say, well, you did a great job. And remember, you get to keep everything you won here so far. Listen, you need this to be worth $600. And as you know, you can buy items like that in thrift stores nowadays a lot cheaper than that. So just want to let you know that this time around, that lamp is worth $650. You did it! And get all excited.
Okay, no matter what happens, you get to keep all this great stuff that you won on the show, including our vacuum and the log set that you won earlier. So you guys have done a nice job. The question is, good enough to get you to Hawaii? The answer lies inside here. We come back out with this from Cantonese Furniture Mall. Dee?
This Carlisle high-leg reclining chair's versatility makes it perfect for any room in the house. Maple veneer arms flow into the front legs for a sleek, streamlined effect. From Lazy Boy, they make rooms that make a home.
Needs to be worth $500, and the pillow's just worth $3.29, so you didn't do it. No, I'm just kidding. You got that whole Lazy Boy rocker. It needs to be worth $500. Have you priced those lately?
No.
Yeah.
$4.99 maybe?
Well, $4.99 maybe if it's on sale, but this one's worth $5.89. You are going to Hawaii.
It always played best, but it could have gone either way on that last one.
Did you ever, during rehearsals, get a chance to play the Shop Till You Drop round just for fun?
Nope, never did. I don't know how well I would do at it. I had fun reading it. I don't know how well I'd do. When I auditioned for Wheel of Fortune, they had me actually do the same written test as the contestants, just so I had the full experience of how the show went and how it was. And I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure I didn't pass the test. I wouldn't have made it on the show as a contestant.
I've always told myself that the game shows I want to host are game shows that I consider myself to be a good player at. So hopefully when I get to host a TV game show, I'll get to play the game beforehand and prove to myself that I can play the game as well as host it.
Yeah, I think for you as a host, to get the chance to have that experience as a contestant and go through the process definitely will enrich your hosting abilities along the way.
The first incarnation of Shop Till You Drop ran on Lifetime from 1991 to 1994. Brad fact! Now, Pat, were you surprised that it only lasted 3 seasons? Or, based on how the game show industry had changed beginning in the 90s, were you thrilled that it lasted 3 seasons?
Well, you know, it's interesting because we were doing really well in the ratings, beating most of their other shows. We were doing 2.0s and 2.4s, and ratings for that time of the day on Lifetime was great. And a new regime came in at Lifetime in terms of the executives. And what I'm told is it wasn't a show that represented where they wanted to go to with their credibility in terms of standing for women and creating a network that was by and for women. It was a silly show that did really well in the ratings, but it wasn't consistent with that. So that was one of the reasons that I'm told that Lifetime decided not to move forward with it, despite the fact that I think at the time was their highest rated original program. And then we got picked up eventually by Family Channel because they had such a strong reputation of the ratings and the branding of what the show was.
And when you first heard that the Family Channel was bringing it back, was it an immediate yes?
Oh, are you kidding? Of course. There was no question when I got that news. And then what was awesome about that is I got to work with Bob Bowden. And Bob is one of the premier talents in terms of game shows and management and all of that. So he was the rep for the Family Channel at the time. So he contributed a lot to the process, and he was a real fan. And Bob and I became good friends out of that process.
Bob Bowden has been a guest of mine on a previous episode of the game show, and what a wealth of game show information he has.
Oh, yeah. As amazing that you are with every fact and detail, Bob would run circles around any of us. He's just really extraordinary when it comes to that.
The second incarnation of Shop Till You Drop ended in 1998, and 2 years later, in 2000, PAX, which is now Ion Television, brought Shop Till You Drop back for another 2 seasons. Brad fact! Now, by the year 2000, we have entered the $1 million game show boom, which started with ABC's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in 1999. Although Shop Till You Drop was a cable show, did you think the amount in prizes that would be given away would be increased to compete with shows like Millionaire?
Obviously, that would have been nice.
PAX was an up-and-coming network, so I'm sure there weren't big budgets for that in the first place. And I think a lot of people thought that it was the fun of the show and not necessarily the size of the prize that made a difference. So I don't know if they really had a choice, given, I'm sure, what the budgets were with PAX.
In 2002, when the second season of that run ended, did you know at that time if the show was getting canceled or not?
In our last episode, I said some version of a goodbye, not knowing whether or not we would come back again. So I didn't know for sure as we were ending, but we certainly knew it was a possibility as we were ending that season.
$7.95, one final box. No matter what happens, you get to keep all of this great stuff, including the hammock, the washer and dryer you won earlier, the trip to Palm Springs. You guys are doing great. Let's find out how great, though. Dee.
Bush combines a casual contemporary design with trendy European styling in an entertainment center with pull-out storage for 72 CDs. From Bush Furniture.
It's pretty cool. We need it, though, to be worth $795. It's actually worth $999. You're going to Trouble San Lucas, Mexico. Congratulations. Thank you. Oh, man, I'm happy for you guys. Congratulations, you two. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching. Hey, Dee, come on out here. Hey, this is the end of one of our taping cycles. We'll be back with just another show tomorrow. But for us, we just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pat.
The best, funniest guy on TV. Thank you to our producers this year, the entire team, especially Anthony and Kathy and Bob, our director. All the names that you're about to see here. They do a great job and make our job a lot of fun. So thank you. See you next time here on Til You Drop. Bye-bye, friends. Bye-bye.
A year later, Til You Drop returned for its fourth incarnation, but with some major changes. The first being a new host, J.D. Roberto. Brad fact, were you asked to return, or did you not even know that it was coming back?
No, I knew it was coming back. They called me before anything was announced, but I was not asked. They really wanted it to be an entirely different show and felt like because it's a new format and a new set and everything that they were doing, they really wanted somebody who was a different face and somebody who was younger. And so David and Scott called me to say, hey, we're going to do this and this is the reason behind it and all that. So I knew it was happening, but I wasn't asked to be part of it.
And now there was no more mall. It was a Costco-esque warehouse store.
Today, one lucky team could win a dream vacation. Meet Heather and Katie. Heather's a waitress who's obsessed with reading magazines. Katie's a student who loves Typo. Meet Matt and Adam. Matt's a financial processor who loves board games. Adam's a production manager who enjoys swing dancing. They're all here to play the wildest shopping game ever, Shop Till You Drop. And now here's the host of Shop Till You Drop, J.D. Roberto.
Hello and welcome to Shop Till You Drop. I'm JD, your host, and this is our mega store. As you can see, it is filled with great stuff. 14 different departments with thousands of products. We've got everything from McCormick bag and seasoned Italian herb chicken to Maalox to Gateway computers. All we need now are some shoppers, and that is why you folks are here. Welcome to our mega store.
When you first saw this change, what was your reaction?
First of all, I think JD does an amazing job. JD and I worked together. I hired him as a host on some infomercials and things like that I had produced long before he got that job. So I'm a huge JD Roberto fan. So I thought he was amazing. I get the reasoning behind the choice of why they changed it, but I just think it took away some of the magic of what was Shop Till You Drop. So I wasn't a big fan of the whole setting and all of that, but I thought JD did a great job.
And they also got rid of the stunts. Now it was more question-based rounds for the main game.
Heather and Katie, you guys get to pick first for one of these two categories. Range Rover and Judging Emmy. Which would you like?
We would like Judging Emmy.
Judging Emmy. You know, guys, Emmy is a tough judge, and this game tells us just how well you've been paying attention to the verdict. In a moment, I'm going to show you a picture of an actress. If you think she's won an Emmy for acting, go ahead and shout out Emmy winner. If you don't think she's won, yell not. If you're right, you'll hear this, and if you're wrong, you will hear this. You got to get 5 out of 10 correct to win. You guys want to play this or pass it over to the other team?
We're going to play.
You're going to play it?
Play.
All right, who's going to answer for your team?
I'm the talker this time.
Heather's the talker. Good luck to you. Here's your first actress. Jennifer Aniston.
Winner.
You bet. For Friends, she won. How about Callista Flockhart?
Not.
No, she's not. 3 nominations. She's never won it. Megan Mullally.
Winner.
Yes, for Will and Grace. How about Sarah Jessica Parker?
Winner.
No, she hasn't. 5 nominations, but no wins for her. How about Edie Falco?
Winner. Winner.
You bet, for The Sopranos. Jane Kazmarek?
Winner.
No, she has not. 4 nominations for Malcolm in the Middle, but no win. How about Deborah Messing?
Winner.
You got it for Will and Grace. That's right. Congratulations.
Yeah, and it made it a different show. I think that's one of the reasons it wasn't around for a long time. It just was a whole different show for people to get used to. And I think some of the original fans of the show who liked the silliness and the fun and all of that, they weren't being served with this new format. And you never know when you take a risk like that. They brought in an awesome host, and that format could have worked, and for whatever reason, it didn't.
With today being a game show reboot era of television, if there is a 5th version of Shop Till You Drop on the horizon, would you like to host it, Pat?
Well, I doubt very much I'd get the call, but you never know. I know David Stanley has been out looking at a revival of it and talking to different networks. Game shows, as you know, Bradley, are so easy and fun because you literally tape 5 shows in a day. Sometimes we did 6, but 5 shows in a day. Many times you would tape 3 days in a row. So basically a total of 3 days out of the month gave you 15 shows. And so how could you ever say no to something like that? The money's great and you get to go to work and just have fun with a great group of people. So yeah, I would say yes in a second. I don't know if I would get the shot at it because I'm sure if they brought it back, they'd be thinking, okay, who's a young comedian we can get as a host? But if it ever happened, I'd be there in a second.
All right, so here's what we'll do. I will be the young host that they pick, and then I will hire you to be a creative consultant and my sidekick.
Sure, yeah, I'll be the announcer. I could do that. That would come full circle. That would be fun.
Next, let's talk about The Big Spin, which was a California lottery game show that you hosted for 10 years from 1999 to 2009. Now, at the point of your arrival, The Big Spin involved California lottery winners vying for a chance to spin a giant wheel containing various amounts of money, with the top prize being worth $3 million. Brad fact! Prior to you hosting the show, The Big Spin was originally hosted by Chuck Woolery, who knew a thing or two about a giant wheel, for 3 weeks in 1985, but then he left the show and was replaced by legendary game show host Jeff Edwards, who went on to host the show for 10 years. Brad fact! These are 2 big names in the game show industry, so Pat, how big of an honor was it to join the lineup of Big Spin hosts? And just in general, how much of a thrill was it to host such an acclaimed California game show that had been on the air for 14 years at that point?
Well, for me, it was really awesome, and getting the job in the first place was quite an honor. I had a little bit of a relationship with Jonathan Goodson, who produced that show. He and I had met back in the days that I was doing Shop Till You Drop. They were doing a nighttime version of The Price is Right, and Jonathan met with me about the potential of hosting that show. And he had shared with me how his dad had watched me on Joker's Wild. His dad was a fan of mine, which was just such a huge honor to hear that. And we talked. I'm not clear if I got the job offer or there was just an inquiry, but long story short, Lifetime said no. They had an exclusive on my contract, and we asked for an exception around it, given what Price is Right was, but they felt like it was going to dilute their brand of doing Shop Till You Drop if I was seen doing this other game show. So I didn't get the opportunity to do that, but that's when I met Jonathan. And then when they were looking for a new host for The Big Spin, and Jonathan was producing it, I got a chance to come in and audition, and did an audition in offices with lottery officials and Jonathan and with my co-host, Michael Alejo, and got the job that way. So for me, that was totally exciting. And the great thing about The Big Spin is it was just a weekly show. So we would tape 4 shows on a Sunday once a month, and had this great opportunity to have fun and a great job, and basically had to work 1 Sunday a month. So you can't beat that.
I'm presuming that the nighttime Price is Right that you were referring to was the new Price is Right hosted by Doug Davidson from 1994 to 1995?
Yep. Doug was the one who was hired for that show, yep.
Get set, America! It's time to come on down! From Studio 33 in Hollywood, home of America's favorite games and the world's most fabulous prizes, it's the new Price is Right! Here's the host of the new Price is Right, Doug Davidson!
you're in good spirits. Welcome to The Price is Right.
Did you watch any of the new Price is Right just to see what it was like?
I didn't watch a whole lot. I mean, I'm a Doug Davidson fan. In fact, I had hired him for a pilot we did for a different show. So I like Doug, but I didn't watch a whole lot of the show. I think I probably was resentful that Lifetime wouldn't let me do it. So I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it.
The Big Spin was on the air for over 23 years and gave away millions and millions of dollars. Brad fact, comparing the amount of money you gave away weekly on The Joker's Wild and Shop Till You Drop, I'm sure being part of a show that could award contestants $3 million every week was such a thrill, right?
Sure. I think at some point during that run, I added up how much money I gave away in person to people, and it added up to $54 million. So to have a job that you can make people that happy and make that big of a difference in people's lives, that's pretty amazing. So I always appreciated that also.
What a nice way to start off your marriage here with a nice little wedding present. Come on. Find out how much money it cost me. We're still moving. All right, it's going to bounce out of there, but beware. Congratulations! Congratulations! You did it, man! Colleen, congratulations! What a way to start your marriage. Harry is our latest $1 million winner. Get ready. We're about to find out how much Alicia Turbin is going to take home and share with her family. Okay, this is it. The next few seconds will tell the tale. We're slowing down. I don't think it's going to stay there. I think it's out of there. Where's it going to land? $1 million! $1 million! Alicia, congratulations! You just won $1 million! How does it feel?
It feels good, and I want to say hi to my Uncle Ron and Harry.
This is it. Get ready. Where's it going?
Were you shocked that the Big Spin ended after 23 years? Because had it made it one more year to 2010, the show would have celebrated its 25th anniversary. Brad fact.
Nothing's a shock in this industry. That was, I'm told, had to do with lottery officials deciding not to continue the Big Spin scratcher. And the show was based on people scratching the scratcher and then winning an opportunity to be on the show. So when they changed that and then started to change the show into something else, as I was leaving the show and they were going to bring on this whole new format, basically it's a whole new format. We don't want to have the faces from before. So thanks, been great working with you. And we're going to hire a new host. And they did auditions, and they picked somebody, and I won't say who. And the lottery commissioner at the time, I was doing a promotional thing at Farmers Market with them, where they would go out and do some stuff with the lottery with tickets and play little games with people. And I was still doing that, even though our show was now canceled. And she told me who they picked. And I said, really? Okay. And I said, did you look at Mark Wahlberg? And she said, no, I don't think that was one of the names we auditioned. I said, before you make your official announcement to this person that they picked and you move forward with that, would you at least do me a favor and look at Mark's tape? Because I'm telling you, Mark is an extraordinary host, and I think he brings a lot more to the game than the person that they named. And sure enough, they looked at the tape, ended up meeting with Mark and hiring Mark. So for me, I didn't get to do it anymore, but it was really gratifying to have my best friend get a chance to step in and host it.
And the show that Mark L. Wahlberg hosted that replaced the Big Spin was called Make Me a Millionaire. Brad fact.
It all starts with a $1 lottery ticket, and tonight, 12 lucky winners of the California Lottery have the chance to win over $1.3 million in cash and prizes. It all happens right here on Make Me a Millionaire. Hello, everyone. I'm Mark Wahlberg, and welcome to the brand new show from the California Lottery, Make Me a Millionaire. We've got lots of new exciting games to play and plenty of money to be given away. And someone will play for our jackpot, which tonight is at $1 million.
Mark was recently my guest on an episode of the game show in which he shared with me that story, and it proves one of the reasons why I love the game show industry, because it's an industry with a tight-knit group of people who look out for each other.
It is. It's an expanding group of people, but it's a relatively small group of people. I had done, back when I was hosting Joker's Wild, I was doing a fundraiser for a charity in Haiti that Richard Klein, the producer, who'd been a major person in helping this charity out. And so we were doing a fundraiser, and we created a game show night where we did it at CBS Studios and had the Wheel of Fortune wheel there. We had the Joker's Wild machine there and some other stuff. And then people came in and paid a certain amount to be part of that fundraiser. And there's just several different hosts like Pat Sajak and Alex Trebek and other people came by just to support the game show world and to support the charity. So it was really cool to see that there was that kind of connection and support with each other.
All right, Pat, here comes my final story, the story in which I first watched The Big Spin. So just like for the Joker's Wild, the first time I saw a clip of The Big Spin, I knew your voice was familiar when hearing you telling the contestant that they had won, but it took me a couple of seconds to realize that it was Pat Finn from Shop Till You Drop. That first clip I saw featured an exciting $1 million win, so of course, after knowing the fact that you were the host of The Big Spin, and seeing how exciting this show was, I looked for every possible clip that YouTube had of The Big Spin. I then found clips of $3 million winners, and I have to say, watching the big money winner clips of The Big Spin are so much fun. I've seen them all a million times, but they are truly some of my all-time favorite game show moments because of how genuinely thrilled you are for the contestants when they win. And Pat, I'm not just saying this because you're on the phone with me right now, but the reason why I watch those clips over and over again is not to see the win, but to hear and see your excitement.
We're slowing down. We're going to know shortly here. It's bouncing. Where's it landing?
Thank you for just reminding me of what a great life I've had.
Well, it's my pleasure. And for me, when I was growing up watching you, it was always such an exciting experience because on every show you hosted, I always felt the genuine thrill you had for the winning contestants. And that's one aspect of your hosting style I have always admired.
You know, that's one of the things I think that worked for me as a host is I really did get excited for people. And it wasn't just like a job. You're standing next to somebody who many times you're hearing the story of some of their difficulties in life and how they struggle. And then they spin the wheel and all of a sudden it's $3 million or $1 million even. It's just amazing.
It's going. Where's the landing? Get ready.
Oh! Yeah! You just won $3 million! Thank you! Woo!
Congratulations! Oh my God! You are a $3 million winner!
I remember there was $1 million winner where it came around and the ball landed in the million. They started celebrating and it fell out of the million as the wheels continued to spin. And it was like, oh my God. And then it landed in the next million. So it was one of those moments where they were supposed to win $1 million no matter what. Because statistically, the odds of that happening are just ridiculous. And yet that happened.
The adrenaline's flowing, isn't it, Martha?
Yes, I'm just...
Yeah. This is it. In the next few moments, we'll find out how much Mark gets to share with her family. Get ready. Oh, wait, no. It's dropping out of the million. Where's it going to land? Where's it going to land? Yeah!
Finally, before we get to the game of the day, I wanted to know if there were any game shows, past or present, that you have dreamed of hosting.
probably dream of hosting any game show nowadays. But when Bob was leaving Price is Right, I was one of the people that got a chance to audition for that. But everybody in town got a chance to audition for it. At that point, it was just like, man, this would be a dream to take over for Bob. And given my background with having done Shop Till You Drop, I thought I had a real shot at it. But ultimately, Les Moonves went in a different direction. And obviously, that worked out really well, considering how strong the ratings still are with Drew. I think that would have been the show that, if that happened, that would have been extraordinary at that point.
Are there any game show projects that you're working on that you'd like to share?
We've got a show at GSN right now that they're considering. Actually, my son, Corey, came up with the original format. He and I have worked together on a couple of different shows. He came up with a show called Secret Agent Challenge that we did that's more of a reality/game for kids that was shot around locations around Southern California, different tourist locations and stuff. And it's on Amazon Prime right now called Secret Agent Challenge. And then Corey came up with this traditional game show with a real twist to it. And it was like, wow, there's really something to that. And I took it to our friend John Ricci and said, let's look at how this format could work. And then we pitched it to Game Show Network. And they liked it enough that they didn't reject it. And they said, we'll get back to you. And then just recently they got back to us and asked for a lot more materials and all. So there's always the hope of producing another show like that. I've done a couple of them over the years for Game Show Network, non-traditional shows. One that was called National Lampoon's Funny Money that had to do with comedians, and that was a fun show to do. And it did another one with Danny Bonaducci called Starface.
I'm going to show you two pictures, and what I'll do is I'll give you a series of statements, and you'll have to tell me which of the two people pictured the statement applies to. You need, like I said, to get 10 correct to win the trip. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, man. I
Let's
hope
play.
I hope you know a great deal about Star Wars actress Carrie Fisher. And I hope you know even more about the Long Island Lolita, Amy Fisher.
Oh, okay.
I love it when we play this way. You ready?
Yes, let's play.
Give me 60 seconds on the clock, please. In 2004 was the author of a book titled The Best Awful There Is.
Carrie Fisher.
That would be Carrie Fisher. Her 2004 paperback made it to number 14 on the New York Times bestseller list.
Amy Fisher.
Amy Fisher was charged with attempted murder.
Amy Fisher.
Amy Fisher said, I always wanted to do what my mother did.
Carrie
Get all
Fisher.
dressed up, shoot people, fall in the mud.
Carrie
Fisher
Fisher
is correct. Said, instant gratification takes too long.
Amy Fisher.
Carrie Fisher met her husband on Match.com.
Amy Fisher.
Amy Fisher had a dead guy in her guest room.
Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher said I was using ecstasy, a lot of ecstasy.
That is Amy Fisher.
That is Amy Fisher was involved in the shooting of Hannah and her sisters.
Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher said as you get older, the pickings get slimmer, but the people don't.
Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher, in 2004, the Society for Professional Journalists gave her an award.
Carrie Fisher.
Amy Fisher.
No, one more. Come on.
Said resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to
Carrie
die.
Fisher.
Carrie Fisher, you made it! You are going on to the trip! Nice pull out at the end. He is headed to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. Thanks for watching Starface.
Different people have different impressions or opinions of Danny, but he was actually amazing to work with. And it was a show that didn't find an audience at GSN, yet I thought it was a really good show. It just didn't quite speak to their traditional game show viewers. So if it was somewhere else, it may have had a better shot at it. But that was a fun project to work on, for sure.
Well, Pat, I wish you all the best of luck with your new GSN project.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a development process. They look at different shows, and out of that, the way the process works is if they decide to move forward, they cut a deal where we then go into the 3-stage thing where they pay you to go into development, where you're working on all the rules and they're giving input to it, and you're presenting it live and in person for them to decide whether or not they're going to trigger the next step, which is a pilot. And then the pilot, many times they'll focus group test it and get kind of reaction from people, from the audience, and then decide whether or not to go to series. And sometimes they skip a step along the way and we'll go right to a series order. But that's the process, and we're at least in the game right now, so who knows how it's going to turn out.
Well, I have a game show intuition that it's going to turn out to become a winner. Well, Pat, we have reached my favorite portion of the game show, and you being my special guest makes this segment even more special because I get to host a game for someone I've looked up to and watched for many, many years. So this is a true honor being able to create this game for you to play. It is time for the game of the day.
Game of the day.
Now, for several of my games that I created for the Game of the Day segment, I brought back a classic game show but added my own Bradley Clarke originality to it. And that's what I also did for your game, Pat. So it's time to play a reimagined version of The Joker's Wild. The Joker's Wild. And here's how we play this edition of The Joker's Wild. In front of me are 5 cards labeled A through E, each containing a game show-related category, along with 5 statements. Once you pick a letter, you then have the chance to quote-unquote spin my Joker machine to determine a point value for that category's statements. There are 3 groups of 6 cards labeled Window 1, Window 2, and Window 3. Each window has a card with a point value ranging from 5 to 25, and there is also a Joker in each window. You'll pick a number from 1 to 6 for each of the 3 windows, and the combined point value will be how much each correct answer will be worth. For every Joker you pick, I'll automatically add 50 bonus points to your total score, plus every Joker is worth 50 points towards the amount of your spin. However, if at any time you spin 3 Jokers, you'll have a chance to win the entire game right then and there. But I'll explain more about that if it comes up. Now, Pat, in order to win, you must accumulate 750 points or more by the end of playing all 5 category cards. So those are all the rules. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
Then let's play The Joker's Wild. Which do you want to start with, A, B, C, D, or E?
We'll start with C.
C it is, and here is your first category. I'll name an element used on a game show. You tell me which game show is associated with that element. And it's time to spin the Joker machine, so for each of the 3 windows, Pat, pick a number between 1 and 6. First, window number 1.
2.
Number 2. All right. Window number 2, what number do you want?
1.
Number 1, okay. And finally, window number 3.
3.
Number 3 for window 3. All right, let's find out what each correct answer in this statement will be worth. Joker, 10, and Joker. You got 2 Jokers, Pat.
Yay!
On the first spin, I almost got to say Joker, Joker, Joker. How was that, Pat? Do I sound good?
I thought it was really good.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate it. I've been practicing for years. And because you have 2 Jokers, you automatically get 100 points. And each correct answer is worth 110 points. First one. 26 briefcases.
Deal or no deal?
That is correct for 110. Next one. Sweaters labeled 1, 2, and 3.
I have no idea.
That's actually supermarket sweep. During the big sweep, the 3 teams would wear sweaters labeled 1, 2, and 3 depending on their market release times. Brad fact.
That's right.
Next one. The Star Wheel.
The Star Wheel. See, I'm telling you, Bradley, I have no idea. Which wheel was that?
That was on Match Game.
Got it. Okay.
Next one. Mystery 7.
I don't know. I host game shows. I don't watch them. I have no idea.
The Mystery 7 is from Pyramid, and more specifically, the $25,000 Pyramid and the $100,000 Pyramid. Brad fact.
Okay.
And the last statement for this category is the 25-point bonus question.
Don't know.
It's actually the Newlywed Game.
The Newlywed Game.
Well, at least, though, after the first category, you already have 210 points out of 750.
Okay.
And we are moving on to your second category. Would you like A, B, D, or E?
Let's go with A.
A it is, and here's what this category entails. I'll name the title of a game show and the years it aired on television. You tell me which of the 3 major television networks, CBS, NBC, or ABC, that game show aired on.
All right, well, let's see how that turns out.
Now it's time to see what each statement is going to be worth, and I have reshuffled the cards from all 3 windows so the Jokers are still available. So, Pat, which number for window 1?
2.
Window 2, what number?
1.
And window 3?
3.
All right, let's see the point values that come up in the windows this time. 20, 25, and 5. So 50 points for each correct answer.
Okay.
Here we go. Body language, 1984 to 1986. CBS, NBC, or ABC?
CBS.
CBS is correct. Another 50 points added to your score, and the next show is Blockbusters, 1980 to 1982 and 1987. CBS, NBC, or ABC?
ABC.
That's incorrect. It's actually NBC.
Okay.
Next one. Super Password, 1984 to 1989. CBS, NBC, or ABC?
CBS.
Unfortunately, that's incorrect. Super Password was also on NBC.
All right.
Your next title is Trivia Trap, 1984 to 1985. CBS, NBC, or ABC?
ABC.
ABC is correct. And to round out the category, your final title is Now You See It, 1974 to 1975 and 1989. CBS, NBC, or ABC?
CBS.
You got it again. You got 3 out of the 5, which is 150 points for that round. You are now up to 360 points. Time to pick another category. B, D, and E are still left. Pat, which one would you like?
B.
B it is, and let's see what category you have this time. I'll give you the name of a game show host. You tell me which game show they hosted during the years that I provide with their name. And Pat, guess what? It's time to spin the Joker machine again. So window 1, which number would you like?
Let's just go with whatever the number of the window is. Number 1.
Number 1, all right. So I guess you want 2 and 3?
Yep.
All right, so window 2, you got number 2, and window 3, you got number 3. All right, let's see what comes up. 25, 5, and Joker. So 50 more points added to your score for spinning a Joker. You're up to 410 total points, and each correct answer in this category is worth 80 points.
Great.
So if you get all 5 correct answers in this category, you will be a winner. And here comes the first host and the years. Jim Lang, 1965 to 1973, 1973 to 1974, and 1978 to 1980.
The Dating Game.
The Dating Game is correct for 80 points. Next up is Wink Martindale, 1978 to 1985.
Tic-Tac-Toe.
Tic-Tac-Toe is correct for another 80 points. And your next one is John Davidson, 1986 to 1989.
Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Squares is correct. You have 240. If you can answer the next 2 correct, you will win the Joker's Wild. Next host, Chuck Woolery, 1975 to 1981.
Love Connection.
No, that was Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention to the dates there. All right.
No worries, you still have one more for this category, which is Art Fleming, 1964 to 1975 and 1978 to 1979.
Concentration?
Unfortunately, it's not Concentration. It's Jeopardy.
Jeopardy. Okay, got it. All right.
But an excellent round, Pat. 240 points added to your 410 previous points gives you a total so far of 650 points, which means since you're only 100 points away from the goal of 750, if you can spin 2 Jokers, you will be a winner. But before you can spin to try and win, you have to pick a category. Do you want D or E?
We'll go with E.
This is category E, and it reads, I'll give you the description of a game show. You tell me which game show I am describing. And now the Joker machine. Window 1, which number?
6.
Window 2?
5.
And I think I know what you're going to pick for window 3, but just for the record, Pat, what number for window 3?
4.
My hunch was correct. All right, here come the point values. Joker, 25, and Joker! Congratulations, Pat. You have just won this game of the Joker's Wild.
Yay!
Just for fun, do you want to play this category and see how you do?
Sure.
Excellent. So 100 points automatically gets added to your total for spinning 2 Jokers, bringing you to the winning total of 750 points, and each correct answer in this category is worth 125 points. And here comes your first game show description. 2 contestants answer trivia questions ranging from 1 to 11 points while standing in isolation booths.
I'm trying to think of what was the more recent isolation booth thing. $64,000 question?
No, the answer is 21.
21, okay, got it.
The next game show description is a seated contestant attempts to answer 15 trivia questions, which increase in difficulty with the aid of 3 helps.
Millionaire.
Millionaire is correct. And next one. Players push a button and yell stop at a giant 18-square flashing board.
No Emmys, whatever that is. What is that called? I can't think of the name of it, sorry.
Pressure Luck.
Pressure Luck, yes, of course.
And I would have also accepted Whammy, the all-new Pressure Luck, as well as Second Chance, which is the game show Pressure Luck was essentially a revival of. Brad fact.
Got it, okay.
The next one. Contestants answer grade school questions with the chance to peek and copy off of young kids.
Are you smarter than a fifth grader?
That is correct for another 125 points. And the final game show description is... Panelists try to identify the occupations of the contestants.
What's my line?
What's my line is correct. 375. You are now up to 1,125 points. Now, Pat, there's one category left. Would you like to go ahead and play it?
Sure.
Excellent. And the good news is you already won, so this is only just to add to your victory.
Okay.
This is category D, and it reads... I'll give you the name of a well-known game show model. You tell me which game show they modeled on. And Pat, for the final time, which numbers would you like to pick for the Joker Machine windows?
We'll just go with 1, 2, and 3.
Sounds good to me. Let's see what the Joker Machine lands on this time. 20, Joker, and 25. So another 50 bonus points are added to your winning score for spinning a Joker. And each correct answer in this category is worth 95 points. And the first model is... Janice Pennington.
Price is Right.
The Price is Right is correct.
That's going to be the only one I know, so we can end it right here, or you could just tell me the other one.
I think this one you might know. Carol Merrill.
Wasn't Carol Merrill on the original Wheel of Fortune?
No, you're thinking of Susan Stafford. Carol Merrill was on Let's Make a Deal.
Right, okay, got it.
And the next model is... Elaine Stewart.
Don't know.
That was Gambit.
Okay.
Next up is... Summer Bartholomew.
I don't know.
Summer Bartholomew was the model on Sale of the Century.
Okay.
And last but not least... Lacey Pemberton.
No idea.
Lacey Pemberton was a model on Card Sharks. But you got 95 points for that category, which means your grand total, Pat Finn, is 1,270 points. And once again, congratulations on winning this game of the Joker's Wild.
Yay. That was fun. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to do this.
You're welcome. See, I told you, you're just as good of a Joker's Wild player as you are a host.
I think we cheated a little bit, but okay.
Don't worry, Pat. Based on the rules of this game, you didn't cheat at all. So in my book, you're just as good of a player as you are a host. And that was the game of the day, the Joker's Wild. The Joker's Wild. Well, Pat, it has been a true honor and a pleasure to have you as my guest on this episode of the game show. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me about your amazing game show career so far.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity to do this and bring back the memories and keep at what you're doing, because you're obviously good at what you do, and hopefully get to see you on a game show one of these days, hosting a game show.
Well, thank you so much for saying that. It truly means a lot. And Pat, you always have an open invitation to join me on the game show again whenever you want to talk some more, or if you just want to spin my Joker machine again.
Look forward to running into you again in the game show world.
Same here. All right, Pat, thank you again for coming on to the game show. It has been a dream of mine to talk game shows with you for a long time, and I'm glad today was the day I got to live out that dream.
Well, this has been a great conversation, so thank you for bringing me down memory lane, and this has been a real pleasure, Bradley, so thank you.
Well, the pleasure was all mine. All right, Pat, take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, I wish I was joking, but we've come to the end of another episode of The Game Show. My thanks once again to game show host Pat Finn for being my special guest today. Now, if you want to listen to my previous episode involving the Joker's Wild with game show producer John Ritchie Jr. as my guest, or check out my episode featuring original Shop Till You Drop announcer Mark L. Wahlberg as my special guest, all you have to do is log on to www.soundcloud.com/Bradley_Clarke, that's BRADLEY_CLARKE/sets/The Game Show. That's www.soundcloud.com/ facebook.com/Bradley_Clarke. That's BRADLEY_CLARKE/sets/The Game Show. And what's great is you don't even have to pull a slot machine handle to choose which episode to listen to. You can listen to both, as well as this episode again, as well as any other previous episode of The Game Show. Plus, don't forget to like The Game Show starring Bradley Clarke on Facebook and follow The Game Show starring Bradley Clarke on Twitter using the handle @TheGameShowBC and hashtag #TheGameShow. But of course, be sure to tune in next time for another exciting episode of The Talk Show, all about the world of television game and competition shows, The Game Show. I'm Bradley Clarke, the Bradster, or if you like, you can just call me a natural triple threat since I'm the creator, producer, and host of The Game Show. And if you're a fan of The Joker's Wild, I hope you liked my natural triple pun I just used. Bye for now.
This edition of The Game Show was created and produced by Bradley Clarke and was recorded at the WRHU studios. This is Austin Angelo speaking.
The Game Show is a Bradley Clarke production. Get your game on.